Cullen goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there and welcome to, my God, the second day in a row of sun in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is historic at this point. And it's, nice day out there. It's also a Tuesday, which is a Sue's Day, which means my sister is joining us from Chicago. It's the 21st, by the way, of July. Suze?
Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
Good. There's progress being made.
In your house?
Yeah,
That's
my
good,
piano gets delivered from St. Louis
That's
tomorrow.
nice. That's nice. Boy,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to ever move again. The next move I make is straight to the cemetery.
Well, I figure by the time I'm done actually downsizing enough to fit into this house,
Yeah.
that I'll be perfectly willing to move again.
Oh, you won't have as much. You'll really, right. You go downsizing from a large suburban house to a
less than
small,
half the space. Into
big
what,
city
when
townhouse.
you get here, turns out to be actually a huge space.
Well, it's bigger than you think. It's just different. It's vertical.
Right.
Right. All righty. Well, I'm glad your piano is coming, and you have a sense that you're actually going to play it, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to the beginning and pick up my old music and start playing again.
Like back to the beginning, like doing scales?
Oh, like relearning the muscle memory.
Yeah, I
have to actually, I can read about 3 octaves of notes comfortably, and then I'm sitting there counting staff lines.
I know. I know. But I think that would come back very, very quickly.
Right. I think it's just a matter of practicing.
I think, and this is something I've been toying with, of taking lessons again, too, just so I'll have the discipline. So you have a meeting. You have someone to be accountable Exactly. It's why I can't work out unless I have an appointment. I have to. We both have that same makeup where we don't want to let someone down. We want to please them, and so that's the way we'll
work harder and better if we're working for someone other than ourselves.
Right. And so I'm thinking it's that scale stuff. It's the discipline in my fingers is gone. They're sloppy. sloppy, and I need to do that sort of boring. But I do. That's what I need to do. And then, Suze, we'll play duets.
It would be fun, except that I'm like one of those people that can't play a duet without sort of screaming all the way through.
What do you mean?
It's like a roller coaster ride.
Oh, you mean you're screaming?
You know, trying to read the notes, keep up, do it right, and then the better it sounds, the more scared I get.
Oh, God.
I used to play them with my son, and we sounded really good, but my part was hard and fast.
We'll do real slow stuff. That's what I play now. I play funeral dirges. I play, slow stuff. You can't play that fast stuff if you don't have your technique down. You just can't do it.
Right, you can't do it. It's floppy and it sounds terrible.
Right. So,
did you happen to notice, as long as we got to this place, that there's this musicologist that decided that the way we play, particularly piano today, is so terribly different from the way it was originally played, and went back to all of the texts of piano instruction, and particularly apparently the one which was written by a guy that was a student of Mozart's. And she said when you assume the posture and hold your hands the way and your arms the way they were required to hold their arms, the way you play is totally different, and the music that comes out is totally different.
Wait. How different can what do you mean?
Well,
Where are
because
their
American
arms?
players tend to play with their shoulders rounded, hunched forward, their elbows out, and their arms almost parallel to the keyboard.
Yeah.
In the early 17th century, the way they played
elbows
was
down,
sitting bolt upright with their arms and their elbows attached to their sides. And their hands splayed out.
Okay, and
it makes for a different touch, and it gives you some things and it takes other things away. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But it was a very interesting article, and they've attached, and it was attached to a study where they tried to they put electrodes on musicians' hands and figured out what each body movement made, and then also it had audience members rigged so that they could tell which touches and which sounds produced which emotions.
Good God in heaven.
It's all very interesting. So now they want to do her and see how the way she plays the music affects the way people hear it.
Huh. That's interesting.
There is no end of stuff that people study, and it's for no other reason than the great beauty and pleasure of the knowledge.
Oh, yes. Well, that's becoming a very unpopular point of view.
An unpopular idea. Just ask Donald how he'd feel about that.
Well, I don't want to talk about him yet, if we get to him at all. So, Suze, I was having
Can I just say one thing? Did you saw that picture of him young at the same age as McCain? And his hair looked just as bad. He always has worn his hair this way. I don't get it. Even when he was 21.
So that's the way he sees himself. That's
right.
why he can't.
This is his approximation of the way he looked at 21. But he has more hair now, so that gives you an idea.
Who told me yesterday, was it a caller, about a photo from on top of 3 heads? And it said of hair. You're looking down on these big heads, hair, and it said 2 are silverback gorillas. 1 is Donald Trump. Can you? I guess it was. It's Celine. That wasn't on the show, huh? I don't know. Oh. See, I'm loving him because he's messing up the Republic. Anything that messes up the Republicans, I love. I love it. I mean, I'm
not horrified, threatened, or disgusted by him, except as I normally am.
Yeah.
I mean, we aren't learning anything new about the guy. We knew when he started naming the country after himself that he had a bit of a narcissism problem.
Well,
there.
yeah. I mean, sure. But probably so do most of the people he's running with, right? I mean, the other
of course, I think you
contenders,
have to listen.
Pretty much.
You have to think well of yourself in order to want to be the president.
Right. To think you have what it takes. Yeah.
And that you could get elected.
Right. Speaking of the president, he's due a few blocks from here any minute, right? I was trying to see if I could see any snipers on the roofs. Roofs or roofs? Roofs. Roofs.
I say roofs.
But it's not spelled R. You don't do hooves. It's not roofs.
No, it's roofs.
Roofs. Roof.
I don't know why what you just did reminded me of my next door neighbor, and I'm sure this will be boring to our listeners, but I just want to say
your old next door neighbor or your new next door neighbor?
The new next door neighbor with the vines.
Oh, okay. The vines
so the
I
vines
destroyed.
were coming through my brand new fence.
Again.
And according to Mother, what I was supposed to do is paint any leaf that showed up with Roundup, which would eventually kill the whole thing. Then, which I thought was, I thought just ripping them off as they came through would be sufficient.
So much for fences make great neighbors. Yeah.
Right. And then my brother-in-law came and said, "Oh no, leave those alone. That's clematis, and you'll have very pretty flowers. It's a late bloomer, and there's spring bloomers and later bloomers. This was a later bloomer, so I let it alone. And then I came home one day and I noticed it was totally gone. And I looked over the fence. And we had yet another avalanche.
What do you mean?
I mean this whole
thing fell down.
5,000-pound, 10-year-old weedy vine fell of its own weight.
You said clematis. I say clematis.
Okay.
It reminds me of my...
I say tomato.
I hate to say, I never knew if it was clitoris or...
Clitoris.
Clitoris.
That's the same thing.
You say clitoris. I say clitoris. You say clematis. I say clematis. Clematis. Clitoris.
Yes, and I say empathic and you say empathetic.
Oh. Are they both words?
Yes, they are both words.
And they both mean the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
But you add in a syllable that never existed in the first place, and then attach.
No, because you're empathetic. I turn the Y into...
Yes, and I drop the Y. I just go empathic.
Okay.
They're both...
Yeah. Both totally okay. Hey, I came across a quote that interested me. I don't know what it means.
Wait a minute. I want to go back to the previous discussion because I just had a thought.
Oh, right, and because we also
that is
didn't...
that an empathic person is called an empath.
That's true.
And so if you take the noun and you make it the adjective, you add the ick on the end of the noun.
Something just occurred to me too.
What?
What did have to do with you thinking of clematis or clematis?
I don't know. You must have been boring me.
Oh, I know. She's got dogs.
Right.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to figure it out.
All right. Back to whatever subject we were actually
at
for.
this big quotation that I came across that it's just a thought that is of interest. So here it is. It's by a guy named David Brown. I don't know who he is, and it doesn't tell me. He says, "It says so much about the nature of space exploration that one reflexively uses the pronouns we and us when discussing it. I can think of no other peaceful human endeavor where that is the case. We didn't map the human genome, scientists did. We did not discover the Higgs boson, Higgs did. Physicists get the credit. But we went to the moon. But we went to the moon. And we are looking for life on Mars. And if you think about it, that's true. We always say we when we're talking about anything that's out there as if we're all in it together. And
But that's from the space race. That's from, it was us against them, who was going to get there first. And we, the taxpayers, were joining with the government in funding and going on this amazing adventure together.
You think it was because it was us
take
versus
ownership over it?
It was like us versus them because the space race. Yeah, but it ain't that anymore.
No. Now
we're
can't
working with the Russians,
and we get to ride with the Russians.
We ride with the Russians. So we still, though, say we now, and that means universal we. It means the Russians and it means humanity.
Right.
I think you might be right about why we said it back then, but I think we say it now.
Because it's us against the aliens.
Well, the thing is, too, though, that maybe. But he also says, I cannot think of another peaceful human endeavor where that is the case, where we say we. I'm going to ask my genius audience to put on their thinking caps and think if you can think of one. And I'll move on. Because that takes us to a full-page ad that I saw in two newspapers today, the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. So it costs some money. It's a big, big ad. And it says at the very top, "Are we alone? Now is the time to find out." And it has a, little thing about blah, blah, blah. Are we the only life? Are we the only minds? And now is the time, since we got that little spacecraft. We got that little spacecraft that, zipped past Pluto and gave us all those. Now is the time for us to find out. This is something that is being spearheaded by two people you can't laugh at. Stephen Hawking.
People try to. Hawking's
and Yuri Milner.
The Russian.
Yuri Milner is the Russian. But then, so they took out these, it's called breakthroughinitiatives.org. And they really are serious. They say, we got to find out. We need to find out. We want to know if there's anything out there. Here's the last paragraph. 3 years ago, Voyager 1 broke the sun's embrace and entered interstellar space. The 20th century will be remembered for our travels within the solar system. With cooperation and commitment, the present century will be the time when we graduate to the galactic scale, seek other forms of life, and so know more deeply who we are. So, lest you think these are a bunch of nutcases, they do have people who have signed this, and almost all of them are, astrophysicists, and they're at Harvard, and they're at Stanford, and they're blah, blah, blah.
Most people think it's nonsense to think that if we exist, other people don't. Other forms of life don't exist.
Forms of life, yeah, but they're saying intelligent life.
Right.
Okay.
Well, why wouldn't there be? See, this is one of those things, when I read about this, my reaction was, I don't know. I don't want to know.
You don't want to meet those other people?
And I'll stay here. I think this is a perfectly appropriate place at which to start xenophobia.
Well, for one thing, Susan, it might be that if we do finally encounter other intelligent life, they will not perceive us
as intelligent life.
Exactly right. Yeah, because I mean, just
I think we are divided ourselves as to whether we are intelligent life.
Exactly right. Really, we have the capacity, but we're, boy. So the only non-scientists I can see who have signed this thing are, astronaut Mark Kelly is on there. He's I call him a scientist. The soprano Sarah Brightman.
Mm-hmm. She of Phantom of the Opera fame.
Yeah. Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion. And here's the one that broke me up. He's the only one that cracked me up. Seth MacFarlane.
No, the noted physicist.
No, not a noted physicist.
Well, I know who Seth MacFarlane is. He's the Family Guy creator.
Right. Writer, director, actor, host of the Academy Awards that bombed. Yeah, right. Seth MacFarlane. What's he doing there?
Well, he has an opinion, and he's voicing it. That's what they asked for.
No, and I bet they asked for a ton of money.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, are we alone? They want to know. They think the 21st century should be all about that. And Susan says, no! It scares me. It scares me. But you know what? There would be nothing that would unite. I mean, obviously there's sci-fi movies about it and all kinds of things. Nothing would unite us battling Earthlings more than
a perception of
someone else out there.
Aggression from outer space. You betcha.
Right. But what if they aren't aggressors? They wouldn't want to have anything to do with us because we by nature are belligerent and aggressive. Right.
That's what I'm thinking. What possible good could come of this? At best, they'll find us so inferior that they'll decide for their own good they have to destroy us.
That could be, too. Or they could look at us as like an annoying gnat that showed up at their picnic. You know?
Or they could look at us as a toy, much as we treated various peoples of our own and,
right.
trot us out for their enjoyment.
God.
I mean, how much fun are we having now? I rest my case.
Okay.
I can think of a whole lot of terrible things that can happen easier than I can think of good things that can happen.
Oh, boy.
But I'm a fraidy cat. I am.
Well, it is. I mean, that's daunting. I mean, when we do think... I don't know, but, scientists by their nature are curious.
Yeah, I know.
And thank God, because without them, we'd still be knuckle-dragging around,
But sometimes they discover things that are a problem for us, like plutonium.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not that they discover things.
It's not the plutonium. It's what they decided to do with it.
There's always people who use stuff for ill rather than for good. That's what we're seeing now happen to us with technology.
Right.
Is that me? It's always me.
And it's changed everything. And did we necessarily want everything changed? No.
No. Okay, I'll stop this. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Damn it. Shut up. Okay.
I mean, remember when we were worried that the television was getting in the way of relationships?
Yeah, but I do think technology is. I give you something right here. The New York Times reports that Americans spend an average of about 3 hours a day looking at their smartphones.
Yeah, well, I don't, but that's because I'm looking at my iPad.
That's the same thing. That's
well, now it is,
No,
actually.
It's the same thing. So I was thinking, oh, my God, do I do 3 hours? Because I'm way up there now. constantly checking every 2 seconds, email, Twitter, playing a game of, words with friends, playing 2 dots, going back to email.
You do it on your phone or on that iPad?
I do everything on my phone.
You should give the iPad away.
Well, but I can't carry. No, I'm not. I use it, but I just, I don't know. And when I see other people with their heads down in their phones, I get so annoyed. And then I think, that's what you do, you idiot. When I first got this job here and started riding the bus downtown, I was just, because it was a new experience for me, I would look at all the other passengers and find them fascinating. I would look out the windows and find things I'd never seen before. And I would get annoyed that all the other passengers were not enjoying what I was enjoying. They were not taking in the environment they were in. They were down in their cell phones. And now I'm one of them.
Well, because you've been there, done that.
Well, yeah, but I just got a feeling it's not good. Not good.
Well, maybe we'll figure it out and learn how to let it be a tool instead of our...
it's addictive.
Our dictator.
It's addictive. It's addictive. It's addictive. It's addictive. And the thing is that people now, with texting, sort of expect immediacy from the person they okay, I texted her, I haven't heard from her, it's been a whole 10 minutes.
And then no one ever knows when to stop texting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's done, and then there'll be one more message, and then
you feel like you have to.
And then you find yourself answering it, and you don't want to. And I always go. I finally say good night, or that's enough, or see you later,
or just don't respond,
or gotta go,
or shut the. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that I'm noticing is that. It's the way a lot of my St. Louis good friends are choosing to stay in touch.
Right,
they'll think of me, and they'll just quick dash off a text, which is fun, but then I'll find myself in a conversation, and I'll text, how about we talk to each other?
Yeah, right, exactly. Could we?
And then we schedule a call, because no one actually has time to do that, so we make an appointment for a call.
I have some friends who do not text. And it annoys the hell out of me. And I've talked to them about it, and they get belligerent. And I say, you're the only people in my orbit that I can't immediately, get information to. So you require me to do something totally different. I have to go to the phone. I have to maybe listen to your damn answering machine message. I have to this. I have to that. I said, it is just so... And in a way, I'm being obnoxious, but in another way, it shows that I've moved on to this next thing, and they're refusing to. I don't know. Do you have people like that you cannot reach?
Yes, and it bothers me.
It does.
Because this is the one friend that calls me all the time.
Yeah.
And before I can think to call her, because I just talked to her yesterday, she calls me again. And so it appears that I'm a terrible friend because I never call her. And in fact, I don't pick up the phone. That's sort of not... I'm sort of phone phobic. But I'd like to be able to, just text somebody as if to say, I'm thinking about you.
Exactly right. Don't have time to have a conversation, but I'm thinking about you.
I want you to know I'm thinking about you and I miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just end up feeling like a rotten person, which is not an intended consequence.
But here's the thing. I think texting is fantastic for exactly that. I'm thinking of you, or logistical thing.
Or I'm worried about you. Where are you?
Yeah, whatever. Quick
check in.
Quick things. But we used to have conversations on the phone.
Or in person.
Or even in person. And that is happening less and less and less.
Well, I'll tell you, there are 2 times that it just irritates me, and that's one when you're sitting at a restaurant and you see a whole table of people, who got together to socialize, all looking at their phones.
Right.
And which it used to be just two people doing that, and now it's like whole tables of people doing it.
Yeah, so why did they get together?
That's an expensive experience to waste. And the other is the damn people that walk down their streets texting and expecting me to watch out for them.
Right.
It's like I want to move into their way and just bump right into them.
I saw a woman yesterday doing something that I thought was dangerous too, but it was so retro. She was walking down the sidewalk reading a book.
Good for her.
She was walking. She had
That's
a book.
Hard to do.
I know.
Turn the pages,
she had a book in front of her, and she was reading it. She had a backpack on, and I was thinking, "Wah! You don't know. First of all, how can you concentrate? My God, there could be a crack. There could be something that's going to trip you. For God's sake!"
I can't even read on a treadmill.
I can't
find that
either.
I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't know how. I can hardly even watch a TV on a treadmill. I just can't. If I am doing something that I find horrific, I just have to be in the moment of the horror.
Right, and concentrate on the horrific.
I cannot distract
I'm
I cannot pretend that I'm not in agony and watch some drama on the. I can't. But So anyway, enough.
Speaking of agony, can I tell you how good I am getting at running up and down 4 flights of stairs?
Well, that's a good thing about living in a vertical universe.
The first couple of months I lived here, I was going, I think I made a mistake. This actually hurts. and now I find myself fleet of foot just hopping up the steps.
And your tush is getting tighter, and your legs are getting stronger, and it's good.
Yeah.
However, when I come to visit you, I'll be grunting and groaning. I'll be cursing you. Jeez, what did she got? Okay, enough of this, I think. Any sign of the prez? The president has a strange day, so he's coming. What a weird thing to be the president. He's coming here. He flies in here to give a speech to the veterans of foreign wars. Do you think he'll have to reference Donald Trump?
Well, my guess is he will make a
joke.
A joke, yeah.
You think a joke?
Yeah.
I don't know. He probably is going to have to say something. Then he leaves here and I think goes to New York to tape an appearance on whose show?
Jimmy Fallon.
No, I think it's more like Jon Stewart, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, so he goes from this like to, I mean, how you'd have to get your head in so many different places so quickly, and then in between, he's handling, the president of Turkey just called and he's upset about this, and this one wants to talk, and we have can you imagine? God. Okay, so let's talk. Let me read you something. Speaking of presidents, if you find out where he's going, Celine, let me know. I forgot because he is doing one of those shows. Okay, here's somebody writing in The Spectator. Speaking of Scott Walker, who now leads Donald Trump in the Iowa polls. Okay? Unlike most presidential candidates, Walker is actually part of the middle class. Where's he going? Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, he's on Kimmel's show. Okay. Walker is actually part of the middle class. He didn't finish college. He has a negative net worth and actually buys his clothes at Kohl's. And then the guy says, and I believe he'll be our next president.
Oh.
I know, my blood ran cold. Because he buys his clothes at Kohl's and dropped out of college a semester short, and because He has a negative net worth.
Because he's an unsuccessful, uneducated jerk.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember it was our mother who first alerted me to the fact, he never graduated from college, and she thought that would be something that should disqualify him. And I said, well, I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either, because some of the smartest, best educated people I know are autodidacts.
Exactly right. I don't know if he's an autodidact, but he ain't dumb.
No.
He's smart. He's clearly not dumb. So that doesn't mean anything. But it does show a certain disregard for...
And perhaps even disdain for, which is
higher
why
education, which is why he's trying to destroy the University of Wisconsin
But
system.
actually, that got sort of bipartisan support against him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. But we got a call? Oh, I thought we did. Okay. But... but those things do make him. I mean, the fact that he's the only one in the race who ain't really rich. Maybe some of them aren't really, really rich. But he is, in that respect, a regular person. And he can use that big time.
He's a regular person who doesn't have much money, who is nonetheless totally 100% backed by the Koch brothers.
Well, they say that that's right. But what he does is he appeals to absolutely every faction of the fractured Republican Party. He is strong with the religious right. He's an evangelical. His father was a minister. He's good with the Tea Partiers because of his slash and burn, government things. He is loved by the Koch brothers and the business establishment wing. And then he's, nice-looking everyman guy. I don't know. As I've been saying, Susan, for a long time, watch out for this
guy. It scares the crap out of me. And they're positioning his wife as the funnier, more liberal, one that adds a little bit of humanity to him.
Well,
and she was a widow, and
he married a widow.
He married a widow. And I think she's about 10 years older than he is.
Mm-hmm. All of that is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is good stuff.
However, it totally softens his image.
However, here are the negatives. I hope. He keeps saying he knows how to win elections in blue states. Won 3 in the state of Wisconsin. Won many more
totally
before that in
fractured.
Milwaukee. Totally fractured the state. But also, he never won by much. It was always squeakers. And now his favorite, after living with Scott Walker as governor for almost 2 terms, the people of Wisconsin, according to the most recent poll, 60% of Wisconsinites say he would not make a good president.
No.
Well,
because nothing that he said he would do for the state did he do. And his latest shenanigans, like trying to, sneak through a closed meetings rule.
Right, where all government business...
No info, guys.
Oh, but listen to his latest is in the New York Times today. Listen to this. I mean, how does he think this is going to help him? This is today's New York Times. Walker proposes shutting Wisconsin Ethics Board.
Oh, well, that's a good idea.
Are you kidding me? The Wisconsin Ethics Board, it's called the Government Accountability Board, and he wants that to be fair and transparent as opposed to his administration. He's mind-boggling. He's mind-boggling.
He's shameless.
Well, it says here that, oh my God, I don't know. So he's, that's it. He now wants to get rid of the ethics board. I don't see how that would ever be a good move for a politician. Like, what would be the first reaction to that? You got something to hide? It's a nonpartisan board.
Everything they do is about having something to hide.
Made up of
if they
judges.
Can't get it this way, then they'll say, okay, we'll get rid of ethics so that now that we have to be open, we can say, yeah, well, so this is what it is. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, I know. I find the world increasingly frightening.
Suze, don't turn into a scared person.
I'm not. I moved to a big city where I hear loud bangs a lot.
Well, I can too in my neighborhood, but you know what?
No, I only hear them actually when Mother's here.
Oh, because Mom hears them. She gets scared.
Yeah, and then she'll go, Susan.
We got to call.
Did you hear that?
We got to call her. Jeez. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Scott Walker won't go any further than the Iowa caucus. He might win that, but there's no way in hell that guy will ever be our president.
Why? Why are you so sure of that?
Oh, all the things he's done in Wisconsin, he's not even liked well there. He's the last in employment, 46th in her state or some shit.
Yeah.
The guy, and you said he was good looking. I'm compared to what, a horse's ass? I'm being serious.
We're old women. We have lowered our standards.
And I don't check out men or anything, but he's not. He's no Burt Reynolds.
Well, I'm saying no, he's not good looking, but he's nice looking. He looks like a regular
guy. He looks like an average Joe, then, huh?
Yeah, he looks like a regular guy. There's nothing the classic. Gee, he just looks like my brother-in-law and half the people I know. And
okay.
And you're right though about the Wisconsin economy has suffered under his policies, and when compared to our next door neighbor of Minnesota, which has had a Democratic governor, it is just unbelievable. Minnesota, with more liberal policies, has been going gangbusters economically. Wisconsin, under Scott Walker, has been going downhill.
Exactly.
But he has all the stuff that these Republicans like.
I still say it'll be Jeb Bush and Hillary.
Oh, dear God.
And I don't like that either. And I think that Donald Trump might screw him over big time. I hope he runs as an independent, too.
Well, if he does that...
he might hurt the Democrats, too.
No.
No,
if he does that, he's putting Hillary in.
I'm not crazy about her, but...
No, but, come on. Although I've been reading things about it. The New York Times Sunday Magazine had a piece on her that I read, and then today I read something about her father, who she rarely speaks of, who was a son of a bitch. Her father was a racist, homophobic, conservative, Republican, nasty SOB. The neighbors never talked to the Rodhams because they were scared of him. He was a terror.
Wow.
Showed no love. He would, when she would come home with, straight A's, he would say, his reaction was, boy, you must go to a pretty easy school.
Jeez.
A nasty SOB. And so this, you start thinking about, where does she come from? What made her her? And she's trying to humanize herself, and I think I'm starting to see the humanity in her. And I have a feeling if I knew her outside of just woman to woman, I'd like her a lot.
Yeah, I don't think she's a bad person.
No, I think she clearly has a sense of humor. She laughs easily. She seems like a regular person in a lot of ways, but clearly, and maybe it's the father, that input of never being good enough for him, never being able to get love from him, that has made her such a striver, such a hard worker. Who the hell knows? But yeah, I hope she gets it. I don't care what Republican runs against her. They are terrifying. Really. Thank you. I hope you're right about Scott Walker.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see ya.
Yeah. Bye. So, Susan.
Yes?
Speaking of, Celine, you're one of those people who can sneeze that nobody hears.
Oh, my goodness. A petite sneezer.
We can't do that.
We say Arushka.
I mean, just explosive. So, I always think that if you can do that, you're hurting something inside because it's meant to be explosive. And if you tamp it down, what's taking the energy? The energy that a sneeze releases? Where's that getting deployed in your
Yeah, I always think
body?
you're going to blow out your brains if you try
something. Where do you think? Do you feel it? Do you feel when you do one of those little?
Yeah, I mean you feel it like right in the back of your sinus.
Oh, she feels it in the back of her sinuses. The pressure. She's doing it for all of us, and we want to potentially risking her who knows what.
Oh, so let it out. Just do it.
Go ahead. Just okay.
Lynn and I sit here clearing our throats all the time.
Oh,
you
man,
go ahead and do it.
Making disgusting noises.
You're right.
Really, we do. Well, but we can't help it. Although your husband was the classic, Susan.
He was.
Oh, geez. I couldn't figure out how you could tolerate it. When I'd go visit, I would have to oh my God! And I don't think he liked me making fun of it, but...
No, he didn't. Because he couldn't help it.
I'm going to do my imitation of Eric reading the paper.
Thank you. I've missed that.
Oh, I think I inadvertently got something up there. Wait. Okay. I can see why he did it. It works. Okay. I miss it now. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry. So we want to get into something a little heavier. I came across a piece written by a bunch of men of God who...
Of one faith or varying faith?
Varying, ecumenical.
Okay.
And they have an idea of how to potentially control guns. And I'd never heard this before. You want to hear this one?
Yeah.
They keep saying...
I'm willing to try anything.
Yeah, right. They kept saying the president said when he was running he was going to try, and he said after Newtown he was going to try, and he's just, you can tell, given up. Pretty much. Like most people.
Right.
And here's what they say. He has the most powerful tool government has. He has the power of purchasing. The U.S. government spends a lot of money. The Army, the Navy, the military, also other state governments, they have to buy guns, right?
Right.
So probably the biggest gun buyer is the military, I would think.
Yeah.
The federal government, in fact, purchases more, here it is, than 25% of the guns and ammo sold legally in this country. 25%. That is a huge hunk of gun manufacturers' income. And then you add in state and local law enforcement agencies, and that number even goes further up. You think gun manufacturers want to lose that? It's huge... Wait. Here's what they say.
You're losing me right at the beginning. Explain to me, the government is no longer going to arm its military or police?
No. Here's what they're going to do. This gives, according to these men of God, this gives the government extraordinary leverage. in order to make demands on the gun manufacturers. For instance, they say that some of the leading handguns that the government does purchase are also the leading handguns used in murders and crimes. I'm talking Glock, Smith & Wesson, Beretta, Colt, Ruger, all those things. So they say the government could insist that they will only buy their guns from a gun manufacturer that does certain things, that distributes their guns exclusively through dealers that sell guns responsibly, that ends their relationship with the bad apple dealers. The government could say, I'm not buying another gun from you until you start producing smart guns that can only be fired by the person who purchased them. And things like that.
Yeah, okay. So what are they suggesting? That he's doing this by executive order, or that our Republican Congress is going to make this happen?
Well, I don't think they're saying that.
And if all of the gun dealers are already doing it, then they've got no one. I mean, they have no leverage. They really don't. Where are they going to go if they're all doing it?
But don't you think so do you think they're all going to do it? Well, then if they all do it, then you got smarter guns out there, and you've gotten rid of the bad dealers.
But what if they decide none of them are going to do it, and what if Congress says no?
I don't know that Congress would have... Oh, Congress controls the purse strings, but Congress is not going to not buy guns. Why can't the Pentagon say, we are only going... The Pentagon can set that. The DOD will set that rule. We're only going to buy guns from manufacturers who we think act in a responsible manner.
That would be fine. I hope they do it. I'm just really not sure what difference it makes.
Okay, here's what it says. Wait.
Bad dealers are dealing a lot in secondhand guns. You know, I mean, this.
But Susan, you can't. You gotta
start somewhere.
Start.
I know. I got it. That's my argument with the Iran, talks. You got to start somewhere. But I mean, my somewhere is pay attention. The NRA doesn't really represent anybody. Why are we allowing our lawmakers to capitulate to people like
Because the NRA has bottomless dollars, and they will destroy any candidate who or office holder who doesn't toe the line. They'll support their whoever's running against them in a primary, and they're toast. That's why they all capitulate.
Well, so I would think a far more reasonable thing to do is to
finance.
Form an organization that's an anti-NRA that can match them dollar for dollar, and put these poor spineless legislators in a no-win situation, and where they have to simply do the right thing because we zero each other out.
Well, it's strange that you should say that, since I know that the ACLU is intending to start a large campaign to raise a ton of money. And I think their centennial year is coming up in about 5 years, and wants to raise a ton of money so that they can do what the NRA does in terms of exactly lobbying.
To me, that's the answer. To me, it's if the only way we do business around here is to buy our legislators, then let's buy us some.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so but these guys also say, I just want to say that I think, I hadn't heard this, and I think and they say the Pentagon is in the process right now of selecting the provider of handguns for the Army. And there's nothing keeping it from requiring bidders to provide detailed information to them about their gun safety technology and distribution practices in the civilian market. The DOD can say to them, you don't comply with that request in this bidding process, you don't have a shot at a contract. The FBI could do the same. What's wrong with that? That makes sense. And then the feds could start getting more information, the kind of information that the NRA, through the Congress, the legislative branch, prevents us from acquiring. Let the government, the executive, show some muscle here. Let's give gun manufacturers an incentive to make more smart guns and allow fewer guns. Okay, so this is anyway that was written by a bunch of metro industrial areas. I don't know, but I thought that was a good idea. I do.
Well, it certainly is a good idea, but I think in terms of making a sea change in what's going on here, we really need to have legislators on our side creating workable, usable laws, and things like no, you can't have assault weapons. No, you can't have hunting things are just fine. I don't get it. And what we're finding, the statistics show that there are fewer and fewer households with guns in them.
That's true.
Which means that there are more households with multiple guns.
That is true. The percentage of Americans, I believe,
so we got households arming themselves.
Yeah.
Is basically what happened.
Right.
I mean, aside from people like I know a lot of like my brother-in-law, who is just the most responsible guy in the whole world, who has a gun safe in his basement and who only uses them for hunting. And who, when I asked him to blow away the robin that was attacking
Susan
wouldn't do it.
Good. Although that robin was very annoying. That robin was asking for it. Her house was under assault by this crazed robin. It was
thing,
unbelievable.
I had just power washed the whole thing, and then this robin comes and starts attacking the house
and pooping
and
all over it.
All along the perimeter of my house.
No, that robin was insane.
Window.
That guy was nuts.
Yes, and then I kept thinking it was my husband.
Well, why would your husband be attacking the house?
That's when I decided it wasn't my husband. I was going to take him out. There's got to, I'm the dominant creature here. I give you a lot of leeway, but if you aren't going to go away,
don't mess with me.
I stand my ground.
Oh boy. So what? So what's next? I don't know. I got other stuff here, but it's so
depressing.
Well, no, it's just I have something here. Well, I saw a picture today, and I don't know what paper I saw it in, but it was a guy who drives for Uber, and he was an old guy, and it said that a lot of old people are doing this because they make money, but not enough to screw up their,
Social Security.
Exactly right. But then I'm thinking, hey, if I order a car from Uber, I don't want some 85-year-old man showing up.
But you might get a 65-year-old.
Well, yeah, but the picture looked like an 85-year-old.
Well, then you don't get in. Your Uber driver comes with a rating. I have to tell you, I use Uber
a lot,
yeah. And I have, out of many rides, had one that I just didn't like the guy because he was, he was playing music, he was talking on his phone, and, everybody else has been totally personable, lovely. Mm-hmm. It talked to you if you wanted to talk, didn't talk if you didn't. And one guy picked me, mother, and my daughter up twice in the space of 6 weeks and asked about the birth of my new grandson and ended up taking a picture with the three of us.
That's nice.
I mean, I've had nothing except really delightful experiences. But I can't say that for cab drivers.
Well, you know what I had with the one Uber thing I did when you called for me and I took it from your house to the airport. I'm one of these people who gets in the back of a cab or something. I don't want to talk to the guy. I just don't. I want... And this guy started talking. And I ended up, by the time we got to O'Hare, really liking this guy, thinking him such a fine fellow. He was Pakistani. His mother was ill in Pakistan. He calls her every day. He went off on these rants about nothing is more important than your mother. Nothing. Nothing. I call her every day. Where would I be if she had, who in the middle of the night came and held my hand? Who was it? He was a riot. And it was so cute. And
I called an Uber for Bill in the same situation, and he emailed me later saying, that was delightful. That was...
Well, yeah, I really like this guy.
And there's also something, I'm sorry for all those people that feel sorry for the people that paid way too much for taxi medallions, but there's something very nice about not taking one's wallet out of one's purse or pocket
when you get to your destination.
When you ride.
Just
it's
going.
You don't lose it. You don't. It's to just get in and get out and say thank you.
Okay, but
on occasion when I go out to O'Hare, I do tip them again because they have to ride back empty.
Okay, but I just want to just say this, that as you know, the Department of Labor just this week is saying that they are promulgating new rules that's going to screw up the Uber business model, potentially. Because they're saying this idea that companies are increasingly getting into, that you can have people doing your labor, but they're independent contractors.
And you have no responsibility.
And you have no responsibility. It's just not
Listen,
right.
I don't mind Uber, treating its employees right. And I do think that they run specials, and these guys don't have any choice, and raise their rates. They're so substantially cheaper than taxis that there's room in there, and to me it's a very nice model
but
of free enterprise.
I agree,
working.
But it needs to be tweaked because the workers are going to end up getting screwed.
I don't want
as
the workers
usual.
to be.
You know what,
Susan?
You know what the average Uber driver makes per trip in Pittsburgh?
What?
$15.
Well, how long is the average
Wait a
trip?
minute. I don't know. It's not like they're going from trip to trip. If that trip's out to the airport, that's an hour's pay.
Well, no, you're talking an average. The trip out to the airport is a whole lot more.
Yeah, but it's more than that, too. They're using their own vehicle, which is to say that they're buying the gas.
I've talked to several Uber drivers about this. I have, about whether they're making, whether this works for them.
In terms of the depreciation on their car, the cost of gas, jeez, 15 ain't going to do it. Now, maybe in Chicago they're making more, but anyway, the Labor Department is starting to say if a worker is economically dependent on an employer, then that worker is an employee, despite what all these new...
Right. They're
trying to go
bring
after
their own car and blah 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 blah. That makes
they're trying to say that you can't go after. Everybody now is an independent contractor, which means you get no benefits, you get no, and this is abused. Anyway, we're out of time. You be nice to your mother.
I am. I'm going to spend the winter with her.
Yeah, you are. Think of the pain she endured to bring you into this world. Think of the sleepless. That's true. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Suze. Well, good talking to you as usual.
Good talking to you, too. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye. And for the rest of you, enjoy that. It's called A Blue Sky and Fluffy White Clouds. Isn't it pretty? Enjoy.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.